Friends, in this video, I am discussing intuitive learning. The word intuition comes from the Latin verb intuere, translated as consider, or from the late Middle English word intuit, to contemplate. Use of intuition is sometimes referred to as responding to a gut feeling. Intuition is the ability to acquire knowledge without recourse to conscious reasoning or needing an explanation. Intuition in philosophy is the power of obtaining knowledge that cannot be acquired either by inference or observation or by reason or by experience. Let me quote Albert Einstein on intuitive mind. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. We will not solve the problems of the world from the same level of thinking we were at when we created them. More than anything else, this new century demands new thinking. We must change our materially based analysis of the world around us to include broader, more multidimensional perspectives. I would like to quote Steve Jobs on the impact of intuitive mind on his work. In the words of Steve Jobs, I began to realize that an intuitive understanding and consciousness was more significant than abstract thinking and intellectual logical analysis. Intuition is a very powerful thing, more powerful than intellect, in my opinion, that has had a big impact on my work. I would like to quote Alexis Carrel, Nobel Prize winner 1912 in physiology and medicine. All great men and women are gifted with intuition. They know without reasoning or analysis what they need to know. Intuitive knowledge, according to Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo defines intuition as reason without the influence of the senses. Intuition is a direct knowledge, a direct experience of something else. That knowledge can come from inside us or from outside. I would like to quote Dr. Radhakrishnan also in this context. Dr. Radhakrishnan said, intuition is a distinct form of experience. It is self-established, swatasiddha, self-evidencing, swasamvejya, and self-luminous, swayam prakash. It is inexpressible. It escapes the limits of language and logic, and there is no conception by which we can define it. The experience itself transcends expression. All creativity and indeed all progress in the various spheres of life is the inevitable result of intuition. Role of intuition in scientific inventions, I shall give two examples. Discovery of buoyant force by Archimedes is a classic example of intuition. Hero 2, king of Syracuse, asked Archimedes, Greek mathematician and physicist, whether the king's crown was really made of pure gold by the craftsman. While taking bath in a tub, Archimedes noted that as his body sank into the tub, the water overflowed. It instantaneously occurred to Archimedes how he could solve the problem of the purity of the golden crown. And he took to the street naked, shouting, Eureka! Eureka! in Greek, which means, I have found it. This is the picture of Archimedes, 287 BC to 212 BC. Archimedes took the mass of gold equivalent to the mass of crown and dipped into a holder of water. He recorded the volume of water displaced. Then he took silver equivalent to the mass of the crown and dipped into the same holder of water. He also recorded the volume of water displaced. he found that the volume of water displaced with silver is higher than that with the same mass of gold. This is because the density of gold being higher than that of silver, one uses less mass of gold. Then he actually dipped the king's crown into the same holder of water and recorded the volume of water displaced. He found that the volume of water displaced is between that of gold and silver of the same mass. By this experiment, Archimedes concluded that the king's crown was made of gold containing a significant amount of silver. He then found the Archimedes principle, which was stated by him as a body immersed in a fluid experiences a buoyant force equal to the weight of the fluid it displaces. Now, let me give another example of intuition, that is, discovery of the structure of benzene molecule by Auguste Kekulé. Friedrich August Kekulé was one of the pioneers of organic chemistry. Kekulé was intrigued with the problem of finding the structure of a compound called benzene. The researchers knew that this molecule consists of 6 carbon atoms and 6 hydrogen atoms, but the challenge was to find a way to group them properly to justify the properties which were exhibited by benzene. A common fact occurs with some people is that sometimes they can have a certain perception of phenomena by unconscious processes that occur in dreams, as in the case of Kekulé. Kekulé's dream, the new understanding of benzene and hence of all aromatic compounds, proved to be so important for both pure and applied chemistry after 1865 that in 1890 the German Chemical Society organized an elaborate appreciation in Kekulé's honor, celebrating the 25th anniversary of the first benzene paper. Here Kekulé spoke of the creation of the theory. He said that he had discovered the ring-shaped molecule of benzene molecule after having a reverie or daydream of a snake seizing its own tail. Snake seizing its own tail. This is the structure of benzene molecule inside proposed by Auguste Kekulé. So you can also see the snake seizing its own tail outside the structure of the benzene molecule. Carl Rogers, a great psychologist, emphasized that learning required the experiential learning component also. Rogers argued that in order to truly learn, an individual must engage in whole person learning. Traditionally, learning has only focused on the cognitive dimension of learning or left brain learning. Rogers believed that in order to really learn, a person must utilize the right brain as well. In the words of Carl Rogers, significant learning combines the logical left brain activity, that is LBA, and the intuitive right brain activity, RBA, the intellect, LBA, and the feelings, RBA, the concept, LBA, and the experience, RBA, the idea, LBA, and the meaning, RBA. Therefore, in research and in important decisions in business, management, and all other spheres of life, it is necessary that we use analytical reasoning and the intellect, that is left brain activity, and the experience and intuition that are right brain activities. Intuitive learning and the context of higher education. Let us discuss now. Individual projects or group projects have a vital role to play. It is the best practice that most of the courses include mini projects in the teaching learning process besides the major project in the final year. The projects may be open-ended and the project may be chosen by the students from a list of projects suggested by the teacher. Interdisciplinary projects with students from different disciplines of knowledge are also desirable. The teacher may guide the student but not direct the student. The execution of that projects in such a way might include the functions of both the left brain and the right brain. Group projects by students, jigsaw method. How do we conduct the group projects? By jigsaw method. I shall explain it now. There may be 3 students in a group. The teacher has to design the group projects in such a way that the project has 3 different tasks. Each student in the group chooses one task after discussion among the group. Each student performs his or her task. There may be discussion among the group and peer learning is encouraged. After all the 3 students complete their task, the outcomes of each task are integrated to result in the outcome of the project. In this method, every student is active learner and accountable for the execution of his task. Open-ended experiments in the laboratory. There is a large scope for intuitive learning in the execution of open-ended experiments. Open-ended assignments, open-ended question-answer sessions also nurture intuitive learning. Intuitive learning and learning based on analytical reasoning can go together. However, intuitive learning needs a greater degree of contemplation. In this process, the teachers also become intuitive learners. Though traditionally inductive and deductive methods, analytical reasoning and critical thinking play a vital role in postgraduate and doctoral thesis, students may be guided in using their intuition also. Conclusion. There is a large scope for intuitive learning at all levels of higher education. Through holistic learning only, using both the left brain and right brain, the students and teachers will be more creative and contribute to original knowledge in their respective fields and also in frontier areas. Thank you very much.